100%, totally.
So thank you all for having me. It's amazing, and the diversity of the businesses here is incredible. I'm going to be definitely reaching out to a couple of you for sure because it's relevant for what we do. But my name's Katrina. When I left high school, I got straight into real estate. I've done commercial property management. I've done residential property management. I've done franchising and marketing for a big brand in Sydney. We had 52 offices down there.
You started in Sydney? I didn't know that.
So I grew up in Sydney, and that's where my career started in real estate.
Right, okay.
Moved to the Gold Coast about 18 years ago. My husband is from South Africa, and at the time he was considering, but when we met, do I go back home to South Africa? We came up here, and he was like, no, this is heaven. So he's from Durban. I'm Shalanga in Durban. So there you go. Yeah.
And I thought he was a New Zealander. There, I'm so wrong.
You did not.
I promise I did.
Oh, there you go.
How bad's that?
Yeah. And so have loved the Gold Coast. Moved up here obviously to start a family, and fell back into real estate, which is really exciting. I've worked with Campbell. I was trying to work it out. I reckon it's about 14 years, because we were at Ray White together.
We were originally, yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't know you as a person there. You might have wandered around. Because when you get, it's a bit like here, when you get such big numbers, you see people in and out. Okay. That's right, it would be 14. I've been up here 16 years from Melbourne. There we are.
So we worked together at Ray White, and then I've been obviously here at Harcourts Coastal for 9 years. I celebrated my 9-year anniversary yesterday, which was very exciting. Thank you. Started off doing special projects, so certainly rolling out marketing strategies and things like that for the business when we were a bit smaller. My role has obviously developed over the years to doing all the events, training, marketing, recruitment, onboarding, retention of staff is really critical to my day-to-day KPIs around how I manage that. And so, I suppose I really love what I do. I don't think that you stay in a role as long as you do unless you really enjoy it. I'm very, very passionate about what we provide here at Harcourts Coastal and trying to ensure that we offer something really different to the other real estate agencies on the coast. Our motto is that when people come to Harcourts Coastal, they have the opportunity to have their best career in real estate, no matter what that looks like. So nurturing people that are coming in brand new, all the way through to, we've got over 20 agents that are writing over $1 million GCI. It's a huge performance-based business, and it's a really exciting space to be. Does that help?
Yes, no, that's good. Because the office has grown. When you started, was it 9 years ago?
Yeah.
Was it only just this office downstairs?
Yeah, so we had downstairs, and we had Paradise Point had just opened. But we were upstairs, we weren't down. So all the office fit outs, because we now have 4 offices. So we've got 3 levels in this building. Well, 2.5, ground floor, level 1 and level 3. And obviously fitting out all of those has been interesting. And then we've got Paradise Point Robina was 4 years ago now, and
it would be.
Our Palm Beach office just opened at the end of January, and they've just had a $20 million month. So that's a really big accomplishment in their second month of business. So,
humongous.
Humongous. Massive. Yeah.
Well, see, that's a lot of growth, and that's a lot of. I didn't know the experience you've had in property management and also commercial. You said as well. Yeah, commercial. So that's a really diverse background to go into your role, because I've always regretted myself, and I was only telling someone yesterday, the one I got referred to yesterday, is in regard to real estate. I've never done property management. I regret I didn't do that for 12 months. I've regretted I didn't do commercial for 12 months and then residential, because the experience you would have gained doing those roles would have been ginormous, and they are experience that you take with you forever in your current gig.
Yeah, and so when Campbell and I started to talk about this session and what might be valuable, and I'm super, super happy to answer any questions, but, a big part of my role is recruitment, so hats off to Kelly. Is it Kelly? Kelly, yeah. I'd love to talk to you later, because obviously the recruitment space in the last 3 years, I'm sure that every business, if you've got employees, has been really challenged in that space. And so for us, we've certainly faced that around support staff, and hence why that retention piece is really important to us in terms of our team members feeling like they're growing and developing. Wages have really come under pressure, obviously with inflation, and there's been a huge transition there in terms of what people are looking for in the market. So managing that, we've had 17 new starters since the 15th of January. So onboarding and establishing them.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And that's across, so I do all the recruitment for all of the support roles, PAs, sales associates, that side of things. Our director does the sales agents, obviously. He has direction there. So it's been a big growth period for us this first quarter. So
your role must have changed significantly from when you started with it was about 30 staff people then, was it?
Yes, we had 32 sales agents when I started.
Okay, fine. So your role has changed significantly from there to now, and who has taken over your role? And are you the guiding light for them in that role they might have taken over from you?
Yeah, so probably as we've grown, and that's the thing, depending on where your business is at, you need to learn to let go. That's been a real challenge for me, just based on my personality. I like to be in control.
No, but plus, I still say now.
Yeah.
See Katrina.
Yeah, everyone.
Everyone says that, right? It wouldn't matter if it was property management, it wouldn't matter whether it was admin, sales, see Katrina.
Yeah,
is that a fair call?
That's fair
so
call.
that would have been hard for you.
And so clearing my diary to still be that person where I can funnel everything and make sure that all of the communication across our business, it's really important, that communication piece, to get the best out of our day-to-day. We're a huge team. We've got an essential services team of 10 very established people that are head of departments, so contracts, finance, marketing. So I'm essentially working with them on a day-to-day basis across the group. And then we have obviously localised administration support. Here in Broadbeach, we've got 10 administrators looking after our sales team. So making sure that all departments are talking, every agent's receiving the same support and service, and that we're really maximising efficiencies wherever we can. Our key hire for last year was a technical strategy manager, and we have a data ninja team that works behind him. They're return to work mums. So I'm a big advocate for return to work mums. That's a really hard space to be in. If you've got that skill set in your business, they're so loyal and hardworking.
Yes.
And I'm a big advocate for that. So
and it's important for them as well too,
so
isn't
important,
it?
So important as that. So we've got people in our data ninja team that have been with our business for 5 years. They work 5 hours a day around the kids' schedule, and they're incredibly efficient. The volume of work they get through is massive. Obviously, looking into that versus the VAs offshore and all of that side of things, we have looked into that, and that might be something we look at in the future, but certainly not as a replacement of those data ninjas. We think the people that have got the relationship with the people in our team, and that we can say, hey, you know, these guys, we're supporting this element, because they are going to want to come back to work once the kids start school, and we want to make sure we're nurturing their growth as well. So that's really important too.
Because they come into this office here as young girls doing the admin and whatever. Then they get married, go out pregnant, they go away for a few years, and then they come back, etc. That's a big part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's really good, because when they've and I know Campbell, the way that he's delivered it there, but it's true. It's a good, and it's a good.
It's true.
What happens in a lot of businesses is that there isn't space, or mothers are forced back into roles, and they're having to, choose to let their kids be in daycare longer than they want, because the only option for them in that business is 5 days a week. So where we can, that skill set, they could have been with us 3 to 5 years before they've gone to have kids. So we want to hold on to that loyalty and that skill set that they've got, and that business knowledge. They get what we're about, and we want to try and help them to journey through that new transition as well. So
people management.
Yes.
That's so key when there's so many diverse areas that you look after or manage or oversee, etc. How do you go with that? Because I can tell you, in real life, Katrina's always available, and every person in this office would say exactly the same thing. That's a hard role to do.
Yeah, and I think my biggest thing that I pride myself on is giving really quick feedback. So I don't let things sit. I don't let things boil up for people. I'll go direct to people. I always deliver feedback one-on-one, never in front of people, because no one likes that. But also guiding. I've got a sales team. We've got 26 teams in our sales team now. That means either agents that have got a PA or a sales associate. These guys are not people managers. So making sure the people you're putting in front of your people are doing a really good job and are managing the same way you are in terms of their conversations. I think everyone wants to improve, and I think giving everyone an opportunity to do that is a gift that you can give them as leaders. But also, I was talking to Campbell yesterday, if I have to give a written warning.
Yes, we've spoken, because that happens.
Because, people management, there is that element of it as well. Sitting down and being really human with them, I always have a witness in the room that sits at the back and takes notes for me, so that everything's diarised, it's formalised in our systems. We use Employment Hero. I don't know if anyone's at a point where, it's fantastic in terms of our notes and all of that side of things. So for us, everything's diarised. Written warning is very clear. I really genuinely give them an opportunity to fix whatever's going wrong. Give them a time frame. I want to give them as much support as I can to turn that around, because I want to know hand on heart that if I'm having to end someone's employment, it's genuinely that I've given them every opportunity to turn that around.
And you try to nib it in the bud to see if they can improve or nib it in the bud in regard to whether it's just not going to work too, don't you, or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just recently had someone start. She was here for 4 weeks. Unfortunately for her, her resume was beautiful, her references were beautiful. The pace at which our business runs wasn't quite a fit for her. That's not something we can always tell on recruiting someone. You know, we put strategies in place, lowered her workload, she had a buddy system in place. We just could not get her up to speed. So I made that decision really quickly. You know, made sure that she left with references because she's exceptional at what she does, but she's just not an exceptional fit for our team.
Yeah, because the culture of this place, and I've owned my own company. I've worked in other companies before where we first met, etc. The culture here is the best I've seen in a real estate firm for 30 years, and I've worked for a number, owned my own. The culture, and I think virtually everybody in this business, regardless of their field, would say the same thing. So the culture, and I think we used to mention people first before, is part of the culture, etc. How do you develop that culture, or is that just something that starts from Dane and Kim and filters through as well,
Absolutely.
or whatever?
Yeah. So since starting with Dane and Kim Atherton, our leaders,
Dane spoke at this group probably.
Oh yeah, okay,
probably
great.
Was that 12 months ago, or something like that. Yeah.
They have taught me so much. They're constantly developing themselves. Very human leaders, I find.
Yes.
One of the Harcourts as a franchise, one of the top number one value for Harcourts as a group is people first. So above all else, above profit, above anything that normal businesses are looking at, people first has to be in every conversation, and they genuinely lead with that in the way that they run their business. I came from a business that was the opposite of that in some ways. It was very much about...
Were you talking about one in Ray White here, or in Sydney, or where? Or
just
whatever?
Real estate in general is very much about ego, big car, all of that.
Micromanagement too was a big thing in most companies.
Yep, micromanagement, yelling at you in front of people if you left early. There's a lot of stuff that go... And so I think here we really try and create that balance for people so that they're really having a fantastic life as well as a really great career.
And it's polar opposite in regard to what it was.
Yeah.
And that culture and people first, etc., that would apply, we just happen to be in real estate, but that would apply to any business, correct?
Absolutely. And that's what I was going to, that's my thing is, a big thing for everybody is that we're so lucky to have people come to work every day in our business. It's really, really hard to find and retain incredible staff. So I think that, the more that you can do for those people, making little magical moments for them throughout their day, acknowledging Easter, acknowledging birthdays, all those little things, it doesn't cost a lot to just see them. And I think that's what's really important, is to really take the time to have conversations and care about people.
Yeah, because it's funny. Yesterday was Harcourts Coastal had an event which, when people have been here for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 12 years, or whatever, they have a special thing where they give people a gift. So there was probably about 20 here yesterday. Some had been here for 2 years, some had been for 4, some had been for 8. And Katrina was 9 years, and everyone either it's a big bottle of champagne or going away for a retreat if they've been here for 6 or 7 years. Katrina's been here for 9 years. You must have put it in order, and they brought in a push bike here yesterday.
I got an electric cruiser, which I just
love. Oh, it's an
love.
electric cruiser. Is it?
Cruiser,
Are
yes,
you serious?
yeah.
I thought it was just a normal bike.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that'll be
wow.
awesome. I've got 2 young kids, live in Mermaid Waters, love the beach. So for me, that's the perfect gift. I'm just so stoked for that. So that's awesome. Yeah. And I suppose I'm aware of time. Was that our little time thing, was it?
No, that's fine.
Because I was, I was going to say...
go through you mentioned a few things. Go on.
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest thing for me was also, I work with a recruiter who's in Brisbane, so I'm excited to definitely catch up with a coffee there, because recruiters certainly play a part. Seek, I just thought, and it's interesting for you, I'm not getting really any great resumes from Seek. Big thing for everybody is that social media presence, sharing your stories from within your business, because you can't then historically do that when you go to advertise for a role. But employees are looking at what you're doing all the time, and vice versa. When you're employing people, certainly check out anything that they've got online, because I think that's really what people are prepared to put out there is really important indicator for everybody. But also just from your perspective, I think that's a really big part of what we do. Our recruitment strategy, I would say 50% of our recruits come from our social media and from everyone sharing different things. And when I share ads, our team sharing ads, because they are like, you know, come and work for us, it's fantastic. So I just wanted to, that's been a bit of a twist over the years. It's Seek's previously been okay, and recruiters are certainly great, but definitely from our perspective, that social network has been really important the last 12 months.
And that's been really gold for people sharing people's leads within this group as well. There's some people who just go berserk, but because what third people will say about people, what people say about other people is far stronger than what people say about themselves. As you know, when you interview someone, then all of a sudden that's not the person. But if someone else had spoken highly of them in their previous employment, it would be
Makes
be
a
good.
big difference. And the other thing I wanted to just give a bit of a shout out, I spoke to Campbell yesterday. I've recently gone and done a mental health first aid course. And depending on how many people you're managing, I certainly would recommend it. It's done through Luminate Leadership, and it's all about, you know, 1 in 5 people suffer with mental health issues, and that can really impact a workplace. Certainly one of our size, obviously, we do have, you know, things that go on. We've got a fantastic EPA program in place where Dane and Kim a couple of years ago acknowledged that there was a growth in mental health, and we pay for our team to go and receive confidential counselling. We don't know that they go, we just get an invoice, we have a process how they can check current employees, but supporting them in those times of need and giving them that professional help has been a real unique thing for us, I think, over the last couple of years, and it's increased significantly in the last 12 months with the pressure of inflation. So for me to go and do, the head of our property management department came with me to do a mental health first aid course, was super insightful around how to have communication and how to open that conversation with your employees, because it is quite a difficult space to speak into, and you know when people aren't quite right, but handling it in the correct way, super great skill set to learn, and pretty cheap too, $350, you know, as a course from a leadership perspective, has been really valuable.
Yeah, that would have been sensational, because it is a big part of every person, because it's half mental, doesn't matter what it is, so that's significant.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Anita, you had a couple of questions as well that you insisted on asking. No, I was only joking, that you wanted to ask.
One of them has already been answered, but the other one is, what is one tip you would give to a business owner if they wanted to grow their business, for business growth?
Speaking to, from our perspective, it's certainly people. And we always are very mindful of keeping costs really low. People get carried away. Like whenever we do space is a perfect issue, we do it very incrementally. We maximise how much we're using the space first before we go and get a huge office. And it's never about ego.
Yes, it has been.
Never about ego, always about, because that way we can ensure the people are first. It's not about a huge office that looks really amazing or, you know, any of that stuff. Focus on getting more people into your business. I certainly think people is the key to growth. Like, look at us from 32 agents. We've now got almost 90 salespeople in our business. You know, that is the key to our team. So obviously each business would be quite different with online and things like that, but it's volume. Obviously it's how to increase your volume, and that's the biggest thing,
And before you ask the next one, you might, is in regard to experienced staff and new kids on the block, I think generally speaking, maybe in all fields, I don't know, maybe in property management, admin and sales, is normally, the way I see it, normally get people who've had experience previously and come here. Is that a little bit of a policy, or is that not true in regard to that?
Definitely. Our goal from the start was to attract established agents. So it was always, you know, establish people with experience, because you can hit the ground running quicker. Now that we're at a point where we can bring on more new people and train those under the people that are experienced, as opposed to starting out fresh where you're training a lot of people. I mean, some business, in our business, it certainly helps to hit the ground running with people that have got exposure, profile, and know what they're doing.
And does that apply in admin, receptionists and property management as well, that policy?
So in our reception and property management, we've certainly got entry-level positions where they can come in if they've got a fantastic customer service background, if they've got telecommunications background, things like that. They're a really good fit for our team, and we can certainly train them because those tasks are quite repetitive. But in terms of face-to-face contact with people or face-to-face contact with agents, we want someone who's got experience and can talk the language, because we are transacting people's biggest property is your biggest sale. We take it really seriously, and we want to be known as a team of professionals.
Did you have one more question? Then we can ask anyone else has got questions as well.
That we haven't already covered. So if someone was entering a new business today, what would you advise?
I would advise them to just keep the costs as low as possible. Minimise your debt, work really, really hard, get your profits high, and then the decisions are, more open. I think I've seen my last business, had a lot of debt, and I wasn't the owner obviously, but that puts a lot of pressure internally, and that impacts culture, that impacts recruitment, that impacts growth. So I think wherever you can.
all of the above, isn't it? Just infectious, exponentially.
So I think if you're starting a new business, start with what you have, work really hard to obviously grow it in that capacity. Does that?
Yeah, no, that answers the question.
Yeah.
Are there any questions? Yes, AJ?
I just want to put down, you mentioned about retention of staff.
Yeah.
So what does Harcourt do to have a retention for your
Sure.
staff?
We definitely spend a lot of time understanding every individual in terms of what they want to get out of their career here. And then obviously the small moments, celebrating birthdays, fantastic events. We really pride ourselves on giving back to the staff in that space. Significantly, yeah. So we invest a lot in, for example, in our admin team, it's, quarterly team building events. So we're going to do paint and sip next week. Someone said about painting and sipping as well. So we're going to do that next week with the admin team, pulling them together as a thank you. We do little gifts, Easter, Christmas, any International Women's Day, cupcakes, any little opportunity that we have to create a moment of magic is what we do.
And it's significant. I can testify from within the four walls. It's just unbelievable. Everyone's birthday. They've got balloons in their office, etc. It's all set up very nicely, or cakes and events every 6 months, 12 months. That's why I went to the AFL Grand Final last year, because I'd been here for nine years, or at that stage, 10 years, etc. So, Dane paid for that, flights, accommodation, etc. And the prizes get bigger. 1 year you'd still go for a really nice meal somewhere, maybe in Brizzy or just here locally, then progressively each year, and that helps it probably helps the culture. Yes, it does.
It helps you feel loved, and I think recognised for that extra year, because they genuinely, hand on heart, feel very blessed that people are here. That's genuine. Every day when people choose to come in, they could choose to have a sickie. If your culture's bad, you've got lots of sick days and people complaining, and you walk through and you hear it. But when you've got people that are really excited about being here, wanting to be number one, wanting to be the best that they can be, we run sales competitions twice a year. So if you're in an industry where you've got salespeople and you're trying to incentivise them, we run sales competitions twice a year. They normally run for about an 8-week period. We've got a scoreboard that gets sent out every week so people can see where they're tracking. So last year our top 20 went to Cairns on a really fantastic experience. We've been to Sydney, we've been to Hamilton Island, we've been to Melbourne to the F1. So, and that's taking a group of 20 people. That's a significant investment in the business, but also for that 8-week period, it pulls everyone together. We're all excited, we're all talking about the same thing. Admin is also incentivised as part of that, because obviously their workload increases. So rather than just focusing on the sales side of the business, we try and focus holistically on where is this going to impact this extra volume, and how do we make that really schmick.
And I find one of the biggest things is there's no micromanagement of people, and I think that applies in all fields.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's because that just creates pressure and accountability when you know what you're doing as well anyway.
And people hate that now.
They do.
I've noticed this huge, even all the interviews I'm doing, people are looking for flexibility. People don't want to be micromanaged. There's this huge shift since COVID of people really going, well, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to taking annual leave, taking sick leave, really kind of putting themselves first. I'm saying that in a nice way, but as in, trying to find that balance.
I've always said it's all about me anyway, so I'm fine.
Yeah, you're fine. We've never had that issue with you. Sorry, I think was there a question at the back there as well?
Yeah, so how do you go about employing people that are entrepreneurs or have a dream of having their own business?
Awesome.
Are they someone bad to bring into your business, or are they someone good?
Great.
It seems like you kind of get to the point this person's perfect in every way, but they're going to be gone in a year. So how do you deal with that?
I certainly think, if you look at your market share in plumbing, isn't it? Plumbing, right? So for you, if you're going to have them in your business for 2 years and they're going to be working as if they own that business, and you're going to have a great 2 years, because they're going to care about their reputation, they're going to care about your business. And how exciting for you to be a part of mentoring someone. They're going to start another business. There's so much space in that plumbing that you're not going to be threatened. It's the same with our market share. We're number one on the Gold Coast, but I think we're still only sitting at about 15%. So like our numbers are massive, but there's still huge market share out there. So I think for every business that has someone coming in, I love people with a bit of drive. You can't have that, like if I had a team of 10 and they all wanted to own their own business, that would not be ideal, but it's a little balance. You want a couple of soldiers that are there just happy to work, and then a couple of people that are pushing and driving and asking more questions and even questioning you on how you do things, because that's growth. I love people going, why do we do it that way? And I think, wow, I've done it that way for 3 years. How would you do it? And you can actually develop your business through people that have got brains like that. So I certainly think that it's a good balance to have. Yeah.
Yeah, because it is a bit of a culture thing where people say, oh, don't employ that person because they're going to just go off.
They'll steal your business. They'll do this.
So that's why I wanted to ask your opinion. So
Yeah.
it's awesome how you put that.
Yeah.
Any other little questions?
Cool.
Okay, that's fine. I think, so...
Thank you, Campbell.
No, Anita,
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
and as a little prize,
stop
because
it.
that was her maiden name, and it's coming from Anita and myself, Craig, and we really appreciate, as a group, having this office, etc. The girls set this all up for us. When we come back after a coffee at Urban, they put it all back, and it's really, really nice. So because you're a Campbell initially, and it's from me, that's from us.
Thank you, Campbell. Thank you. Thanks, guys.